I was talking to my son who's 4, and I was like, I'm talking to Ron Carter. And he's like, who's that? And I was like, he's on all of these records. So I've been just going to town listening to your music. So welcome, Ron Carter, a true jazz legend of the bass. It's a delight to talk with you today.
Thank you. Good to see you.
You too. I got to see you at the Jazz Gallery in New York earlier this year, and it was a delight. I just love your melodic playing. I'm really looking forward to diving into that, specifically regarding your book, Chartography. And I'm also looking forward to talking about your new album, Sweet, Sweet Spirit. So,
Okay.
Chartography is a collection of transcriptions of your bass playing and the way you reinvented the chord progressions of a standard tune, specifically Autumn Leaves, when you were playing with the Miles Davis Quintet in the 60s.
Yes.
I'm curious about your balance between kind of the head and the ear. When you were playing, were there like conscious kind of analytical decisions, like I want to raise the chord progression a half step here? Or is it all kind of ear-led and you're just in the moment, not really thinking about your notes?
It's both of those things. I don't think you could have one without the other and be constantly uh, defying the odds. And I say that to say that some people can hear the changes, but they don't know what to do with them, and their memory isn't long enough to take this phrase in their ear on Monday and try to play it somewhere else on Thursday. Or those who have the instinct to do that, but they don't know what they just did, and they can't think past the excitement of finding something new. I'm kind of a mixture of both those people. I hear an idea, and I have a good memory. I remember that it worked for this tune tonight. Will it work on another tune? Will it work in another key? Will it work with another set of changes? Will it work with a different kind of band, a different kind of beat in the background? What else can it do? And then secondly, I hope that I play it clearly enough and set it up, so to speak, that the band knows it's coming again. How can we help it? So it's both it's a feeling and also instinct.
Would you ever verbally walk through things like with Herbie Hancock? Would you be like, hey, I loved how we did this substitution here. Let's make sure we do that another night?
We never did that.
Okay.
My job was, if I'm going to play it, I have to set it up so they knew it's coming. And both of them were so, let's say, they were so aware of the form of the songs as we all were,
Right.
and were understood the bar lines and the stuff in here.
Yeah.
Once I understood how to approach this new event for them, my job was then to find a lead into that they couldn't miss, that they would jump right on it because they heard it over here somewhere, you know. And then I still have fun doing that. You know, the band I'm working, the bands that I had for the last month at Birdland. Once you got the framework of the band straightened out and the library was kind of agreed upon by me, I could set up my events, we'll call them. And they may miss the first one because it's so new to them, this thing. But if I knew I had their attention, I would start building up to this event, maybe 4 measures in advance, or 2 measures in advance, and here's the new event over here. They're aware of the choices I'm presenting them, and as soon as I can learn how to set it up so they can't miss it coming, then the party starts.
That's fantastic. With some of these events or these different chord directions, are you setting up like options for them, or do you have a specific chord that you're hearing in your mind's ear? Like, man, I hope that Herbie or whoever lands on this.
I am the option.
There you go.
Yeah. I want them to follow my option.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's excellent. When you were, I was also enjoying playing through these transcriptions, and I was amazed at your rhythm too. Just walking through these different rhythms. Obviously, there's so much more to just walking quarter notes. I would notice at sometimes you would, or the band would follow you on a rhythm. Sometimes they would intentionally not join you on a rhythm, and vice versa. Sometimes Tony Williams would set up a different groove, and you made this nice kind of tension by not going. Was that also intentional? Like, is there a restraint to your playing that you value?
Yes and no.
Mm,
I appreciate restraint,
mm,
and without restraint, everyone's not going to hire you, or anyone's not anyone's going to hire you. You know?
right, right.
And I think the discipline of being able to control your your yourself, your ego, of things that you do, just throw them at the fan and see what sticks.
Mm,
That's not what I do.
right.
If I miss it, I miss it, but it's not a random event. Uh, when I hear when I hear my rhythm, I'm
Mm,
hoping two things: that the drummer, in this case Tony Williams, will not join me
oh, okay.
because I want the tension of what he's playing against this new engine, this new rhythm
Mm,
I'm throwing in the pot right then, right here, right now. So he has a
right.
choice. He can either join me to make it sound like really hip, we get jumped on this, or he can play his groove and let mine be the salt in the vegetable, you know. And I think one of the things that I try to encourage, in this case, drummers
Mm-hmm.
not to do is not to mimic my figure as I'm doing it all the
Mm,
time.
yes.
I want the tension. Excuse me. The idea, Quentin, is to have this real tension, not have the audience imagine the beat and I'm doing something different.
Right.
I want them to actually hear this kind of back and forth. I
Yeah.
want to ultimately hear this.
Yeah.
That's
That's
that's what excites me, man.
well, it's so exciting, and I love that you'll build tension in this case with Miles with the quintet all throughout his solo, and it'll be like 2 or 3 minutes of this amazing tension, and then it would kick off to Wayne's solo, and it'd be a completely different feeling, and it's like, how did you create that much tension for so long? I think there's such a temptation for younger musicians that don't have the wisdom to just go all out too soon.
Well, I think two things lead to that ultimate goal, Quentin. I think one is they aren't with experienced band leaders
Mm,
who encourage that kind of uh, what may sound like a desperate attempt.
mm, hmm.
Uh, a lot of band leaders, they don't encourage those kind of radical choices. In
Yeah.
this, and I'm okay. That's what they don't want to hear. That they're the band leader. They,
Hmm.
in theory, are calling the shots. Excuse me. But my being with those groups who had a pretty advanced harmonic concept and interest,
Hmm.
who were interested in what rhythms didn't work, that would work in a different tempo or a different key.
Mm,
You know, I watch how those band leaders put together the program on the bandstand, and it may change because the audience didn't respond, or the guy in the front row didn't pat his feet when he's supposed to pat his feet.
hmm.
I learned all those kinds of things, and I try to add those to my performance when I'm being the band leader.
Hmm.
And I think most of the young band leaders today have not had that experience and that exposure and the number of options that I had back in the day. I was a real freelancer. I mean, I'd work with 4 different bands every week. And what kind of, how can you can't find a university like that anywhere, man. I need all these free lessons. I'm like a sponge who never does not need water,
There you go.
you know. And I think that my 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 determination to make everyone sound good because I'm there
Mm,
helps this process of understanding tension, release, tension.
mm,
Can I put the new chord in here that they don't expect to hear? Can I set it up so it works in any kind of song or
hmm.
any tune? Or changes are nothing to me because I got this format in my head that's supposed to work.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, that's
uh,
freedom.
people have a round file called the trash can. I don't have one of those things, man. They say they stay here until it's worked out some kind of way. Then I'll
Oh,
set it aside. But I'll file it, not in the trash can.
that's great. I'm curious because you brought up some other band leaders when you were with Miles. Of course, Wayne Shorter, who was a brilliant composer, also wrote a lot of tunes you all did, specifically the studio albums. This might be way too specific, but I've always been a fan of Orbits from Miles Smiles. Herbie doesn't play a single chord. So you're the full tonal support. Would Wayne give you the same kind of freedom that you all would have on a standard, or would
Yes.
Wayne sort of? Okay, he would.
Yeah. I mean, he understands what music is for him,
Mm.
and his uh, width and the breadth of sounds and tempos and his different compositional devices he uses.
Mm.
He's open to any choice that someone else has. How does that work? How come you did that there? Does that work if I do this here? Do you want? Do I write a vamp for this guy? Is he? Can he? What does he do with stuff?
Mm.
His imagination is always on overdrive, and to be with him and knowing that whatever choice I make, we understand the gamble, and the odds are in our favor.
That's fantastic, man. I would have loved to have been a fly on the studio wall for that, man. Well, I want to make sure we have time to talk about your album, Sweet Sweet Spirit. So let's pivot to that.
Okay.
Um, your new album is a gospel jazz album. It features a choir, organ, your amazing um, arrangements of these classic hymns. Can you give us a little bit of a backstory to the album? I think I read that it's dedicated to your mother. Is that right?
Yes. Well, as she was getting on in years and unable to, she shouldn't be by herself. That my sisters put in a nursing home
Mm.
where she had care, and they thought that she would like to have some music because she was into music. So they asked me, could I put together a disc, a record
Mm.
of her favorite songs? Well, I said yes before I realized that I had no computer. I had no skills. I
Mm.
had no music program. But I told them I was going to get it done. So I got out to a store. I won't say what kind of store it was. And I got a computer and I got a Finale program that shit was not too difficult to read for someone with my limited skills. I put together a 12-song disc for my mom that contained all of her favorite songs.
Mm.
My sister bought her a little boom box back in the days to showed her how they work it so she could have this music and hear her songs whenever she felt like it, for as long as she wanted to hear it. Whenever she wanted to hear it, it's strictly her choice.
Mm.
And she began to really uh, not feel so lonesome and just the religious air that these songs provided for her when she was younger. The strength is still there, how they could affect her life and her loved ones. So I had wanted to do this on the larger scale, but not knowing how to do that. I mean, I didn't know any choir directors who taught that stuff or who had
Mm.
big choirs that they see on TV. And I didn't know anybody like that, man.
Mm.
I had talked to Gene McDaniels, if you remember his name.
Mm.
He's a really great. He had some big records in the '60s.
Mm.
A lovely voice, had a great voice. And we had talked about him finding the lyrics to this 11 or 12 songs, whatever you find it boiled down to. He was saying these words along with my literal computer arrangement.
Yeah.
But he passed away before we could get that done, and I regret that he didn't get a chance to hear what we ended by doing. In any event, one of the things had been asked for a long time is, what's my next project?
Mm.
And I kind of got stuck because I don't know what the next project is. If I can pull it off, that will be my next project, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had run into Don Was, who was the person who was speaking on behalf of Blue Note Records. So Don asked me, well, okay, what's your next project? I said, well, Don, I'm kind of stalled on being able to make it come to fruition because I don't know how to do that with this project I have in my head.
Mm.
You know, I mean, I knew the names: Kurt Franklin, Jimmy Cleveland, James Cleveland. Sorry, James, but I had no contact with them. I wouldn't know how to reach them.
Right.
He said, well, if I could find a choir and put it together, would you be interested to hear it? Yeah, of course.
Mm.
Well, fast forward a year later, it's all done. Have a great choir.
Yeah.
Ricky Dillard, a fabulous conductor and singer. The arrangements are really done well by Zeke Lestenfield, his partner, and the choir is just stunning, just
Mm.
outstanding.
Mm.
And what my role was to try to give the choir the kind of bass line that a quartet bass singer would give a singing quartet. Bum,
Oh.
bum, 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 all those kind of
Yeah.
great. It had incredible lines, those guys.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to do, Quentin, is make my bass be the bass voice
I love that.
of a multi-voice quartet.
Yeah, like the
You know,
Kingsmen or the Statler brothers, like those classic
yeah, yeah, yeah,
gospel
yeah,
quartets. Yeah.
yeah. The Fabulous Five, the Fabulous
Yeah.
Four, just the bass singers were really bass players in their voice.
Right.
And I was
Right.
trying to create that tension, that harmonic bass,
Yeah.
that depth of the range I'm using on the instrument to just highlight their energy, their enthusiasm, their performance. And
Mm.
so that they're trying to give another lift to what they do. And man, this record is killing, man.
I heard a glimpse of it from what your team sent me, and I think it comes out the 15th, right?
Yes, yeah, that's
I'm
first
so
single.
excited to listen to it.
Yeah, man, it's only fabulous.
That's awesome. Now, regarding, I guess, the topic of the album, it is gospel music. Are you yourself a man of faith?
I'm not sure how to answer that. Of course, I have faith. I'm playing jazz bass.
There you go. Well, I guess I should say maybe would it be better to say, is it a worship album for you? Like, do you take the meanings of the hymns in a Christian regard, or do you see the album more as a tribute to your mom exclusively?
It's a tribute to my mom
Mm.
separately.
Separately.
It's a project that I put hours and hours in trying to work it through. Is successful on that level.
Mm.
Am I religious? We all define that word differently, so I won't ask you what your view of that word is and bounce it off mine. But I believe in a being who makes things happen,
Excellent.
and,
Yeah.
and I think that he has placed us here for a specific role.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I'm finding out what my role is more clearly every day.
Mm. When you were working on those hymns, did the lyrics influence some of your musical interpretation, your musical
Yes,
choices?
yes. Even more so as I got older, I understood what the words meant. You know, when you're singing 10, 11, 12 years old, the choir saying you sing the words, you aren't really into the meaning of the words in and of themselves.
Right.
Of course, you want to get the words right because you're singing with unison with 8 or 9 people, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
as I got older, I began to understand what do those words represent?
Right.
What did they mean?
Yeah.
What was the hope behind those poems with music?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the more I picked through the songs and listened to the words, because I was trying to figure out how to voice the sounds, and well, my limited computer skills is a lot slower than it would be, which maybe made me hear the lyrics more because I was depending on that for my assistant, you know.
Mm.
And I think the more I heard the lyrics, I understood what those lyrics were asking the people to buy into, to accept as a way of life,
Mm.
as a culture,
Mm.
as a belief in this set of words, you know. And when you're singing the 10 years, you're just singing the words because everybody else is singing them. Well, I'm just far from 90, so I figured out now after hearing them, oh, these words mean this. Ah, so sorry, God. I didn't understand it there.
Yeah.
Just that words were critical for me to make this work.
That's wonderful because I mean, I was looking at the hymn choices. I mean, there's such a range of encouragement found in them. Like just a closer walk with thee starts out with the line, "I am weak and thou art strong." So you can really connect with the music to bring those out. And
Yeah.
I was really just enjoying looking through your song list, and I can't wait to listen to it in more depth. I'm trying to think if there was anything that we haven't talked on. Um, and you're performing this live, right? You have a live concert coming out.
Yes, I'm excited about that. Yeah. Uh, I've gone to some of those services, and I can't imagine uh, the bands who play with them live, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm been a studio musician as well as a freelancer jazz guy person. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, I try to imagine how much rehearsal time they had to figure this stuff out. You know, you got the choir sitting over here, man, and the band is trying to match what they're doing, and they're all looking for the right groove and the right tempo, and
Yeah.
all the factors that go to make that successful. I walk in there and it's already done, and I'm just stunned that man, how much time did they have to do this kind of project? So I'm finding out because at this video, I'm one of those guys who's trying to help them figure it out.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's so exciting to hear you cross over into this gospel genre. Um, it's it's a whole other world, but there's a lot of similarities.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. No question.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today on all these concepts. Everyone can check out your book, Chartography, and
Please,
your new album, Sweet Sweet Spirit. And thank you for your generosity, Ron. I really appreciate it.
I'm available to you. And when you get to the single on your CD player or whatever form you have, get back to my site and tell me your thoughts.
I will. I will. And you brought up that up. I was talking to my son who's 4, and I was like, I'm talking to Ron Carter. And he's like, who's that? And I was like, he's on all of these records. So I've been just going to town listening to your music. So I will be
Thank you.
sure to spread the word
Please,
more. Yeah.
thank you,
Awesome. All right. Well,
Rawson. Thank you for your time, and
thank you. And hopefully I'll catch you up in New York again, or I'm in the DC area. So if you're ever playing around DC or Baltimore, I'll be there.
Keystone Corner always has me on the list.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. All right.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Have a good day.
You too.